Hi there, it is December 6th, so Sunday, getting ready to go into the work week here pretty soon. And I know I've said that I will get caught up on everything, and then I got to face the facts that editing is really hard, especially when your computer just doesn't really want to cooperate. So I had to transfer my entire editing setup to my husband's computer, which is significantly more powerful than mine. And I'm very grateful that he's letting me do that and then commandeer that machine from him periodically. However, this entire process has really made me realize how much I appreciate what anyone who is involved with audio, photography, videography, any of that. I so much appreciate what they all have to do in order to make a living doing this. It has been such a pain in the butt. This is actually my third attempt on this video to even get it to record because my microphone decided that it doesn't want to record anymore and just keeps cutting out on me. So I don't even know what's happening. I'm having myself some life right now, but let's go ahead and get to the tea. Today's tea is going to be gingerbread blondie. And again, because this was actually a take I've already tried to film, I've actually already used some of the tea in here. It's a good thing I didn't use all of it. It also didn't come all the way up to the top of the lid here. And I also realized it's a good thing I have to redo it anyway, because I didn't actually assess the smell on this guy. It does smell very sweet, not super gingery, and I find that surprising because in this tea there is apple, ginger, pineapple, mango, candied ginger, sugar sprinkles white stars, sugar sprinkles gingerbread men, apple pomace, artificial flavoring, and that's vanilla and cream, and I believe that's everything. I may be missing something. I may have forgotten to write everything down there. But it does smell a little bit like a blondie, and then you get some fruit notes at the end there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dump out what remains in that little canister. All right, so looking here, we have those chunks of dried fruit. One of these is gonna be pineapple, one of these is gonna be ginger. Hard to tell exactly which. They're both actually pretty much the same color when they are dried. These bits here that are a little more wrinkly, that's actually the dried apple. So there's that. And I'm still not sure what mango is going to be in here. Potentially it's these guys, but not fully sure. And I've got sugar sprinkle white stars. And in this particular mix, I don't have a little sugar sprinkle of the gingerbread man. I do in the earlier footage, so I'll probably go ahead and splice in the two run-throughs of the ingredients a little bit there so you can get a good look at those ingredients. I am also going to grab back my bag and carefully open it. And then, of course, because of all the computer issues, I did not have a chance to finish my reusable muslin bag. Making a mess. Per usual. Perfect. All right. So then in talking about the ingredients for today, you know, I like to talk about ones that definitely do play into the primary flavors of the tea or things that are surprising. But when I went to start filming today, I was not feeling it. Just was not excited about it until I actually got to it. So it's one reason why this has been so frustrating that it's not working the way that I really want it to. But regardless, my series, I make the rules, and there's ginger in this tea, which means I want to talk about gingerbread. So, I'm going to go ahead and redo that because this tea does need 95 degrees Celsius and about 5 minutes of a steep. So, got to get that going. Gingerbread typically gets its flavor from ginger, hence the name, and it can also get flavoring from cloves, nutmeg, or even cinnamon. It is typically sweetened with honey, sugar, or molasses. Molasses is going to give it that darker color, but molasses was not actually always used in gingerbread, which is something I will cover in a little bit. And even just saying gingerbread could bring to mind any number of sweets, ranging from a sweet cake-like loaf of gingerbread cake or ginger cake, all the way to a much snappier kind of ginger snap biscuit. So if you watch Great British Bake Off, when they talk about gingerbread, they are absolutely looking for that ginger snap. They prefer that, and that is actually part of the history of how it even got to England as well, which I will also cover. Originally, gingerbread, which gets its name from the Latin for zingiber, or the Latin zingiber, it's not Latin for zingiber. And what that really just talks about is a way of preserving ginger, or else a method of creating a confection, so a little sweet that's made of honey and different spices. So we're looking at basically a candy is what gingerbread originally was, because it was all about preservation, which, you know, if you've ever had fresh ginger, it can go bad. Just like anything else you might put in your fridge. Yay! In any case, there are claims that gingerbread was first brought to Europe in 992 CE by the Armenian monk Gregory of Nicopolis. And when he moved from Armenia to Europe, he settled in north central France, and he apparently taught the art of gingerbread making to a bunch of French Christians in the area. However, it's the Torun region, which I believe is in modern day Poland, at least from the research I found, that really made gingerbread become more well known and even popular, because German immigrants were going along doing their thing, and they were crossing over to Sweden. And along the way, there's always that exchange of cultures and ideas as you travel. So gingerbread ends up stopping off there and really popularizes it across mainland Europe. But in Sweden, a bunch of Swedish nuns get a hold of the recipe and method for making gingerbread, and they start making gingerbread using white sugar as a way of helping to cure and combat indigestion. And they would decorate these white ginger biscuits in these elaborate window types of decorations, probably to echo the stained glass of their churches, which is where we get a lot of that royal icing decor across our gingerbread houses today. So that's kind of cool. And so that was, 13th century when that was all happening. And then in the 15th century in Germany, there was an actual gingerbread guild, which super cool. Where is that in your RPG or your World of Warcraft setup? Because I joined a gingerbread guild, absolutely. But an entire guild actually did regulate the production of gingerbread. So, follow the rules or else, I guess. But I think that that's just so kind of funny. And so it wasn't even until the 17th century where gingerbread makes its way into England. And England, it's there as a biscuit. So that's part of why the English tend to think of gingerbread as biscuits. And it was sold in monasteries, pharmacies, and ye olde farmers markets. And one of the reasons why that particular collection of locations for being able to buy gingerbread biscuits is altogether that way is because the English, much like those Swedish nuns, thought that gingerbread had some medicinal and curative properties. And really, we actually know that ginger can combat some of those feelings. Think about when you have an upset stomach, you might drink ginger ale or ginger tea. Ginger tea actually helps with just digestion in general, right? It helps settle your stomach. So there is something to be said about reaching for some gingerbread when you're feeling bad. I mean, I know gingerbread actually tends to pick me up when I'm in a bad mood, so hey. When you then fast forward about 100 years, you have the English being English, and they're suddenly claiming that they have the home of gingerbread. Remember, it doesn't even get to them until the 17th century, but they have the home of gingerbread. And it's this little town of Market Drayton in Shropshire. and they have a sign and everything that says the home of gingerbread. And their history with gingerbread dates back to 1793. So they definitely have a long history with gingerbread, but as I've already discussed, gingerbread took a little while to get out there. However, you could say that the English really did make the most of gingerbread and really got gingerbread moving around more globally with that British Empire. When you have a lot more people coming to the Americas to settle, they're bringing with them their culture, their traditions, their recipes, which includes recipes for gingerbread. And what ends up happening is that because sugar was so expensive, in part because of history and things like the sugar tax, which I guess was repealed, but you have access to sugar being so much more restrictive because of the cost that they start experimenting with other flavorings, such as molasses. Molasses was a lot cheaper and it sweetened the gingerbread just as effectively. And I'm going to go ahead and get my water going on my gingerbread while I talk a little bit more about this. As the gingerbread is being sweetened just as effectively, it gets that beautiful color that we really associate with ginger and gingerbread. And not only that, but it produces a softer, moister cake. So now we're getting more of where we see that gingerbread can refer to both a cake and a biscuit, because the molasses brings in that extra moisture. As a fun fact, in America's first cookbook, which is called American Cookery, put together and published and written by Amelia Simmons, there are 7 different recipes for gingerbread. And I'm super interested, from a side note, because I like gingerbread, of knowing where all those recipes came from, because I'm sure, because of how cookbooks used to be also these family traditions, very much like every food blog out there now. So I'd be really curious to know what regions all these gingerbread recipes came from. So if anyone knows, would love to hear about it. Absolutely. But today, gingerbread is mainly served around Christmas, so right around now, hence why you see things like your gingerbread lattes and all your gingerbread house making kits that you can go buy at the craft stores. But it's something that obviously we all look for because it's winter, right? For those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, and gingerbread brings that feeling of warmth and comfort. And so that's one reason why people like to turn to it. Very commonly around this time, you will see the gingerbread men, and I know that that is attributed to Queen Elizabeth I when she would serve gingerbread to foreign dignitaries. And my current favorite theory is that it was basically the 1500s version of Nailed It, where she is having her bakers create models of these elaborate portraits of dignitaries who they know are coming, right? And then serve it to them as a little baked figure. That just makes me really happy. The idea that that's what she was doing. I don't know, of course, but that's my favorite theory. Regardless, even with outside of it being a biscuit or a cake or the holidays or not, it doesn't really matter because gingerbread is enjoyed the entire world over. Most countries have some form of gingerbread, some form of tradition with it. And so you've got to give kudos to David's Tea for creating a flavor of tea that really reminds us of the things that unite us, especially when we're going through some things as an entire species here on this earth. So I think that that more than anything is really what tea is about. So let's go ahead and take a look here. I'm a little light on my time, so we're just gonna monitor what's going on. Because there are no tea leaves in this tea, it is going to be a lighter color in general. And I did rip my tea bag, so that's why I've got some particles running through there. As I am moving my tea bag around, I can definitely, smell that sweet quality. And it is going to be a very light color, it looks like. I don't know how much more color we're really going to get out of that guy. Oh, that's a little weird. It's not unpleasant, but it is a little strange. There's very fruit forward. Little bit of that kind of candied sensation. I think potentially from the sprinkles, which I did not actually expect to say I tasted, but I do think I taste sprinkles. And then very finally, as that final note, yes, finally as a final note, I'm amazing at this, is that ginger. So once again, I'm finding it hard to really love a tea that doesn't have the main ingredient as a central focus. Again, it's fine. I will be honest, I was on David's Tea website earlier and I did look up this tea. It's only rated a 4 out of 5 on it, and it has 91 reviews, many of which kind of say the same thing that I just said here. The reviews that like it really do like that it's sweet, it's light-bodied, there's no tea in it, so there's no caffeine. It's perfect for when you're having to film 3 different times after 7 p.m. So here we are with that. But it's better, I think, than the mint. Now I'm thinking about it. You can tell I'm thinking about it. No, I actually think I might like the mint better than this one. And that's unfortunate because I love all the ideas behind the gingerbread, behind the blondie, and of course, I love the smell. I really wanted to like this tea, but it's just fine. Will I drink it? Obviously, yes, but I am glad that I had to use all of it on this cup. So that is my assessment. Thank you very much for having an adventure with me, and I will see you tomorrow.